Three cheers for the guest of honor. Pip, pip, pip.
Hey everyone, we are so excited today as we have the Attorney General here with us at Dukesbridge.
Honourable Attorney General, we're so glad that you're here with us at Dukesbridge.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for having me.
Honourable Attorney General, what has inspired you to become a barrister and what is your mission now as Attorney General?
Well, that's a very good question and it requires a very long answer, but I'll try to be brief. I was not destined to become a barrister. My grandfather is a barrister, my father is a barrister. Both became judges. And when it came to me, I wanted to do something else because I didn't want to follow in their footsteps. But funnily enough, my family always thought that I would be a barrister because I was always arguing with everyone at home. So finally it ended up with me being a barrister. Now as Attorney General, the job is completely different. The perspective is different. As a barrister, you look after individuals, companies, private entities. Today, my client is the country, is the people, the state, and it gives a completely different perspective on the job of advising your client.
What is the biggest challenge you face in your role and what helps you make the right decisions?
Right. Well, the biggest challenge is probably to understand the shift from private to public. It took me quite a few months to adjust to the new circumstances and to the new paradigm of advising government and the state. Do we make good decisions all the time? We don't make good decisions all the time. We are human. We sometimes err, but we try to be as reasonable and objective as possible in order to come to the right conclusions.
Honourable Mr. Glover, for this year at Dukesbridge, our theme is 26 ethics. In terms of ethics, which areas would you like to see our future Mauritians take a stronger stand?
Well, the start should be at school here. The problem is that the mentality that we're facing today with certain categories of persons in Mauritius is evidence that the children that they once were probably not educated the right way, and ethos was not one of their main subjects. Their ethos, unfortunately, was not made important for them, and this is where it should start, at school.
Honourable Attorney General, I'd love to ask you a question about Chagos.
Please do.
Given that Chagos was part of Great Britain in 1968, isn't it up to Great Britain to decide which coast they grant independence to and which coast they keep?
No. That's a common mistake. That's a common mistake. So let me take you to the 19th century when Great Britain took over from France, Mauritius. You can see even in the treaty then where France capitulated and gave Mauritius to Great Britain, that the Chagos archipelagos formed part of Mauritius at that time, and it remained part of Mauritius as a dependency. We don't use that word anymore, but Agalaga, Saint-Brandon, Rodrigue, they are all dependencies of Mauritius, and Chagos archipelago was a dependency. What happened in '65 was that with the evolving situation, the geopolitical evolving situation in the early '60s, where practically all of the countries in Africa were gaining independence, the United States urged UK to keep Diego Garcia because they needed it as a base. So the Labour government of Great Britain at the relevant time made a deal with Sir Sagar Hambulam, but it was not really a deal in the sense that there was not, consideration for everything. They just absolutely imposed that they were actually taking Chagos off from being part of Mauritius, so that they kept it for their base, for Diego Garcia to be their base. So it's erroneous to say that it's part of Great Britain. In fact, in the treaty that we signed on the 22nd of May 2025, there is an acknowledgement and a recognition by the government of the UK that Mauritius is sovereign. It is the present tense over the Chagos archipelago. So what has happened is that this recognition, in fact, dates back to prior to the 1965 excision of the Chagos archipelago. So it was never part of Great Britain. It was always part of Mauritius. It was only part of Great Britain for the time that Great Britain was the colonial power in Mauritius. Right?
Mr. Glover, we hear that the Chagossians want their land back. They claim independence and do not want the UK or Mauritius to own the islands. Why do you think it's important that Mauritius fights for them?
Right. The Chagos archipelago is not an indigenous country. This is the biggest mistake made. People didn't spring from the sands of Chagos and started living there. They practically all came from Mauritius. They were taken there to man the coconut plantations, and most of them come from Madagascar or Africa, but they came through Mauritius to Diego. They didn't sort of jump from the east coast of Africa to the Chagos. So Mauritius has always been le conduit to the Chagos archipelago. So the argument that runs that the Chagossians are indigenous people who must have their say in the future of their country is a fallacy, for the simple reason that they are not an indigenous people. They are all from Mauritius. They all speak what language? They speak the Creole language. It's very simple. And why is that? It's because they all emanate from Mauritius. Now, you've heard a lot of things over social media telling you that they want to be independent. In fact, they don't want to be independent. Now, you've got the Chagossians who are based in London, led by Mr. Mandarin, who's now stuck on Ile du Coin, doing his Robin Crusoe thing. And we have the Chagossians in Mauritius, in Seychelles, in France, and also in the UK.
Who, in fact, their wish is not independence. Their wish is to go back to their land. To go back to visit their land, or to go back to resettle if at all possible. It would be extremely difficult to resettle. These are very, very small islands. There are no amenities whatsoever. So the investment to be able to resettle Chagos will be difficult. But what is needed is for them to be able to access the islands and go to the cemetery to pay tribute to their ancestors, etc., etc. And in Article 6 of the agreement, resettlement process is agreed. So there will be a possibility of resettlement the lawful way, and the lawful way is through Mauritius, and it is not through anyone else. Because not forget, Great Britain refused and fought it out, and they got judgments of the House of Lords where the government of Great Britain refused access to the Chagos archipelago for Chagossians who wanted to go back.
Honourable Mr. Glover, what message would you like to share with us as youth about justice, responsibility, and serving our country?
The message is that service to the country is something which is today unfortunately lacking, and it is something that must grow within our youth. Let me share my little experience. So I was the product of the normal cursus of school in Mauritius. So I went to primary school, Notre-Dame-des-Victoires in Rosil. Then I went to Collège du Saint-Esprit. I did my SC, my O-levels and my A-levels. I was fortunate enough to be a laureate in 1980. And I went to study. And for me, the route was always back to Mauritius. But that was in those days. Today, I have 3 children. 2 of them do not want to come back to Mauritius and are not coming back to Mauritius. Only one of them has come back to Mauritius, but I must add it's probably because he is engaged to a lady in Mauritius. That is probably why he's here. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have been coming here. So, in the days in the 70s and 80s, when you went to study, the idea was to come back and work for your country. I, for example, I had free education at primary school, free education at secondary school, free education at tertiary because I was a laureate and government paid for my studies. And it was only normal that I came back to work in Mauritius. And it was absolutely normal for me to drop what I had, which was my private practice, of which I had 40 years, and I built quite a sizable practice, to go into public service where the earnings in the public service are so disparate compared to what I was earning before that it's just not even worth talking about. But I did it because I think that it was necessary, since I had reached the venerable age of 62 at the time, that it was time for me to give back to the country something that I had been given throughout my life, my youth, and indeed Mauritius had been the platform for me to grow as a barrister and be successful. So, message, service to the country is something very important, and it must remain in the mind of everyone. So yes, we all want to be successful. We all think that the grass is greener in other countries. But I think that if we all come back here and help our country, when I say all, most of us come back and help, we'll be a better step. And you've got an example here.
Honourable Gentlemen, it's been such a pleasure to have you here with us at Dukesbridge today. We have learned so much from this conversation and we will remember it for a very long time. Thank you so much for your time and your visit.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you.
And on behalf of everyone in Dukesbridge,
Happy Independence Day!